I've tried this like 2 times already, so let's hope this one's the one. I just wanted to talk about feminine energy and how I really feel that it's been demonized, in so many centuries, partially due to religion, partially due to like mother wounds and the mother's relationship with their sons and daughters. I think we forget that mothers are people sometimes because they have the ability to host life and support and nurture. But I feel like, as human beings, we sometimes base our experience with our mother and put that on all women. So if we have a negative relationship with our mother, all women are horrible. And if we have a positive relationship with women, all women are goddess saints and can do no wrong, which leads to various consequences in our lives. And I guess I just wanted to express some of my journey because I feel like I don't talk about it too often. And, get to know me better kind of thing. But when I was a little girl, mind you, I was not religious. I didn't go to Sunday school, never received Holy Communion, went to church once in a blue moon, but couldn't take the bread or blood of Christ or whatever. But for some reason, there was a portion of my childhood where my grandmother would take me to school and I would ask her to recite the story of Adam and Eve. When you're a kid and you watch one movie 100 times, it's kind of like that. I would ask her all the time to recite that story, and I don't think I realized how psychologically damaging it was for women to be blamed for the damnation of humankind, and that we get our periods because we're impure. And that we are so I just realized that in our society, 90%, if not all, everything with a female or feminine connotation is considered negative. Everything. I realized that when I was in 2010 when I found new wave feminism. But before that, I really hated myself, to the point where I couldn't look in mirrors, and I had to actively cover mirrors. I couldn't look at my naked body because I felt so much shame. I actively wanted to be a boy from when I was 14 to maybe 17, or maybe 12 to 17, I don't know. But for a long time, I would wear baggy clothes and press my boobs down because I was just felt really ashamed, and really went through this period of body dysphoria and self-hate, and it all stemmed from not loving myself, not accepting my role as feminine, because there's certain things your mothers teach you that, oh, ladies don't do this, ladies do this, ladies don't do that, ladies don't do this. And I was just like, it just felt so restricting and confining that my response was to completely reject it entirely. Like I couldn't, I didn't want to be like other girls, but I didn't realize how harmful that was to my psyche and my relationship with women. And they weren't doing it out of maliciousness, because the women in my family are actually very masculine. Even though they present themselves as feminine, like their inner beings, I can tell, are very masculine, because that's the society that is worshipped and praised. That's what society deems as acceptable. And if you have these qualities, you're gonna make it far. And if you're a pussy, you're a bitch, you're a faggot, or anything, you're a whore, it's all considered negative. So I don't blame them. I don't hold any resentment, because they were operating from what they thought would keep me safe, and they didn't realize that would inadvertently make me reject my entire self. They did it, their parents did it, it's a cycle. So I don't blame them. I've forgiven my mom like a long time ago, because I realize she's a human being that just wants love and to be loved. Same with my grandmother, same with my other grandmother, same with my father. Like, it took me years to forgive my father, but I finally did it. But and there's still layers, but I move through them now with so much more compassion for who they are as human beings, versus these like godly beings that have omniscient say over how I should be or perform in society, because I am not a reflection of my parents. I am my own being. They birthed me, they created me, but I have my whole and this isn't me trying to toot my own horn, because it's really difficult for me to navigate, but I think differently about a lot of things than anyone in my family, and that's okay too. I love and accept them for where they're at, and I hope they love and accept me for where I'm at. I haven't always been accepting. I haven't always been loving. I went through periods where I was just transitioning to veganism, where I was super fucking judgmental for every choice that they made. And, I would criticize my mom all the time. And now looking back, I'm like, who am I to criticize, my mother for her choices? Yes, I don't have to agree, but, me putting that on her is making her feel worse about herself. I don't need that. She doesn't need that, and I realized that something had to change with me and how I show up, and that has to do with embracing my femininity while maintaining my masculinity. I don't think my masculinity is ever going to go away. Just like I don't think my femininity is ever going to go away. I think that certain times it can be repressed, and in certain situations, certain wounded aspects of ourselves come up that we need to deal with. But I truly hope that everyone can somehow find the compassion within themselves to be soft. I'm really working with the word softness lately, because I realize that certain parts of myself tense up, and I can get defensive and be but the more I soften with myself and the less I judge myself, the better I'm able to show up and handle situations that cause that disturbance within me. So I just wanted to share from a place of like vulnerability, but also power and strength, that, you know, swinging too far in the pendulum where it's like complete self-rejection because everything that you consider with a feminine connotation is negative, then going the full spectrum and being like, men aren't shit and they're the reason everything sucks, blah, 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 blah. You know, to finding that equilibrium within yourself, recognizing that and consciousness has been the most profound thing for me in my experience of being able to hold two simultaneously conflicting ideas, because this world has polarity and duality. So it's not this or that, it can be this and that, and that's okay. That's expansion. I can see you and see them and be like, all right, cool, you know? And yeah. Self-love is a really wild journey, and you know, I still struggle with not feeling beautiful. You know, I still look at my past actions, what I did as a kid, what I did as a teenager, and having forgiveness for myself has been really challenging. You know, especially when it comes to people who I've wronged. And I'm working on it, you know. I'm slowly building that trust with myself and letting go of the past versions of myself, but also nurturing them, you know, not letting them go as in a sense of like abandoning, but in a sense of like letting them be free, you know, like letting them express and be free of any shame or shackles or cognitive like pain that they cause. I just hope you know, people eventually stop demonizing or pedestalizing feminine archetypes, you know. Women can pedestalize themselves all they want. Like, they can put themselves on a pedestal all they want, you know what I mean? Like, and that doesn't mean they think they're better than everybody else, or at least I hope that's what it means, because I don't think that that's a good way to exist, but that's just my opinion, you know. Like, I just hope that the commodification of bodies, which is a whole other empowerment thing, but I digress. I hope we can like have self-love for our bodies, our souls, and our minds from a place of like not exploiting ourselves, you know, for profit. But that might be a tall order, I don't know. I'm learning still. I'm not saying I figured it out, and ultimately everybody's gonna do whatever they want anyway, which Godspeed, you know. I just thanks for showing up, and thanks for listening if you've bothered to listen, and thanks for being you in whatever way that chooses to express itself from moment to moment.